on YouTube at some point.
Oh,
Probably.
I'd have had my hair done if I'd known.
Sorry. I thought you had. I thought that was the you've got it in a. I'm guessing is that Carol? Yeah.
Yeah, hello.
Yes.
Nice to
Hi,
meet you.
Carol. Hi. Yes. No, I thought that was. I thought that was a look. You know.
This is my dishevelled look because I've just walked 40 minutes to get here, rushing.
Oh wow! Right.
So a bit dishevelled.
Oh well. I would be if I still had hair. I would be dishevelled. So hang on a second. 1 second.
I don't even have that excuse. So I've not been anywhere. It's still hasn't been cut since last August. It's just
Looks great, actually.
What are you all doing in my room here? What's going on? Hello, everybody, and let me just. Here I am. Ask away. Ask questions. You can ask me, or you can ask in the chat, or you can unmute yourself. Or you can mute yourself and do sign language. Really, it's up to you. So, questions. Anyone got any questions, or should we just sit here and hang out at this point?
Formatting. Script formatting.
Right.
There seem to be quite a few variations on a theme as to what is the official way to format a script. So a script that we thought we had formatted according to all the rules.
Yeah.
And we sent off to somebody who very kindly came back and said they won't accept that because it's not in the industry format. So we've had to reformat it. Well, we're in the middle of reformat it again. So
what do they define as the industry format, dare I ask?
I've got no idea. I went to a script formatting app and I took it from that and I sent that again, first few pages, said, is this okay?
Yeah.
And they said, yeah, more or less, but we don't need scene numbers and we don't need cut tos and we don't need blah.
I find there's nothing more annoying than not having scene numbers. I find that really quite annoying if I'm reading a script and I'm sort of going back to, ideally I'm going back to scene 5. No, I'm going back to scene the one that says interior bedroom.
Yeah.
That's not.
Yeah, because you need a reference point, don't
Yeah.
you?
Yeah.
You need it.
Exactly, but we've been told to take the scene numbers out.
Right. Okay, I'm just going to share. This is from BBC Writers' Room, and it's called taped drama format. Effectively, what that means, you see the date on here, updated 2004. So, but this sort of effectively means the same as like non-audience sitcom as well. So, this is this is what BBC Writers' Room says, and it's as good as anything really. So, episode number and or title written by Alan Matt Carless, which is probably not your name, so don't put that. Every script should have a title page, address bottom corner, agent there, etc. Blah blah blah, and so then you get. And I mean, I've seen it different. A lot of people use Courier font because that's what the old movie scripts were always kind of typed in that on. Courier is the same as like the old typewriter, Courier 12 point. So that's why you still sort of see that a lot. But this looks to be something that isn't Courier, but it sort of doesn't really matter. I mean, for me, the main thing is always what's the scene, what's the is it inside, interior or exterior, where is it, what time of day is it, and then one thing per paragraph, so one action per paragraph. I'm just going to go look for instance, writers room.
So already on that, because our script was close to this format. That's what we tried to use when we wrote for your course. We
Yeah.
tried to stick with this. So we've had to decapitalize all the stage directions,
Really?
unbold everything, and take out the underlining of the character name,
Mm. Oh well.
and put it into Courier as well.
Yeah. What was the competition?
Shortcom TV.
Right. Okay. Right. I'm going to share this now. Here is here's a script that I've just been talking about on the next sitcom Geeks, which is the first Sherlock script. This is all from Writer's Room. So they have. So yeah, actually, yeah,
It does look more like that one, to be
yeah.
honest.
The one
Yeah.
that
We've got that as not caps. Okay.
Yeah.
But this is a shooting script, which shooting script is sort of different from the shooting script is the one that's being used by the director, etc. So I don't know. I feel very. It's a subject that causes a lot of grief and anxiety. Especially if somebody says to you, "We don't accept that type of format." But I mean, I think
What the effect it's had on our particular script is because of the way we've had to lay it out, we've
Yeah.
now gone over the page limit. So
Right.
we're going to have to go back into the episode and edit some of the scenes to make it fit 30 pages. Whereas in the format it was in, which was acceptable to the BBC, we'd got it to 30 pages.
Yeah.
So,
This is numbered scenes as well. So
yeah,
so contradictions.
everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh well,
My
we'll do as we're told for this one and then
yeah.
worry about it next time.
Yeah. For me, it's basically does it make sense? Can I understand the point of what you're trying to say here? Does it sort of read well? Jay says an easy software to use is Writer Duet, one word,
Writer Duet.
free version, and it does it for you. So Jay, is that something you've been told is something that you should use formatting wise? Have you been told
It's
that?
yeah, I mean the industry standard, but I mean that's for features, but I use it for TV as well. I haven't written a radio one. That first example you showed is what I've seen for radio, and I haven't got to grips with that because that's just on a normal Word document.
Yeah.
That one, kind of like that, which again I took from BBC. But the Writer Duet, it gives you the different options of a play or a screenplay or a sitcom, like single cam or anything like that. But I basically use the basic screenplay option for everything. And you can choose to put the scene numbers in or take them out. For feature competitions, all the competitions that I go into, they don't want scene numbers. They don't want any mores, continueds, because it just bulks things out, and you don't need to keep saying continued because it's going to continue on the next page, things like that. So you can take all of those out in the little production, under the little heading that says production. You can go in and kind of make sure you've got page number 1 put in. For some reason it doesn't format to include page number 1 like the actual number 1 at the top of the first page. It's really weird, but but I've found out of everything that I've looked at, Writer Duet has been the easiest because I'm not very techie. So
Right.
I just, it's a nice, simple, very responsive software to use. And you literally just sign up an email address.
Right.
I think I just signed in with my Google account and it all syncs.
Brilliant. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
I mean,
Celtex is a similar one. Yeah.
This is the radio format. Now that looks like every radio script I've ever seen. That's 12-point Arial with a sort of 1.5 spaces, and the sound effects bold, underlined like that, and then character. I mean that looks like what I would call a radio script. Yeah, Celtex is another one. Callum has mentioned. Celtex is free, and you get a cover page. Final Draft as well. A lot of people use. That's not free, and that's also people. I don't know anyone who likes Final Draft at all. But I think you kind of, if you're writing for the American market, you have to. I think you have to have Final Draft. But we should, James and I should talk about this at some point, because that is a bit confusing. I think if you're told, oh, this is industry format, but then the BBC maybe has different formats. These are all writers' room formats. So that's interesting. Let's see. I might just sort of go to the writers' room anyway, see what they have to say, if they've got a kind of general point about it. I mean, that is second question, most asked question after how do I get an agent is, how do I get the formatting right? They do have here film screenplay. I think that's probably the Courier one, yeah. And that's yeah. Let's just go there. So yeah, that's 12-point Courier. That hasn't got scenes, and that's not capitalized. So yeah, that's for film. That's what I would have thought is.
Yeah, and
like,
this is for a sitcom, so it's
But that's for film. That's a screenplay. That's not a sitcom. So there you go. Oh well, I'm sorry I can't be more helpful on that, and that to be able to say, oh yes, this is the thing. This is the thing. But I'm it is different. So write a duet. I'm just looking at here now. Simple and powerful. Sign up for free. Every tool you need in one place.
woo woo.
I'm going to use that at some point. Yeah, okay. And that's yeah. And write a duet helped me escape Final Draft, says Christopher Ford. Oh, that's good. If the writer of Spider-Man Homecoming can escape Final Draft, that's sounds like a kind of movie idea, doesn't it? Really.
Yeah, it does.
Trapped web of Final Draft, having to put character name, character A, B, C, D on the front of every page. But this is my story of how I escaped. So okay, that's formatting. Then anyone got another next question? Anybody should have.
Can I ask a related question with software? Does anyone use any interesting software to plan things and to keep things going before you actually sit down and write?
That's a good question. I mean, being of an age as I am, and having had a life before the internet, I've ended up going back to pen and paper and big things, big post-it things with post-it notes on the wall. But that's me. But I did I think I have tried Scrivener. And I found Scrivener quite good, but I sort of found my brain slightly more kind of organized in my own little way, really. But that was just me. But so I don't know if anyone else tried anything. Callum, yeah.
Hi. Yeah. Hi.
Hi.
I just basically use. Does anybody have an iPhone? I'm presuming a few, maybe. I've got that, and I've got a tablet as well. I just use Pages on there, and it's all like interlinked. So I generally start a note, and then I in terms of like treatment form, and then like carry on with log lines, and then I don't do lots of writing on my phone, but I do like initial log line ideas on that, just like quick snip stuff. and then I move over to the tablet to like etch it out, if that makes sense. If that's what you were getting at, Jonathan, I think your name is.
Yeah, I mean, I have a question about that, but I was just going to say I found a sort of mind mapping program called Simple Mind, which I find quite useful because you have something that happens in a line to something else, and you can move it around. But I've always wondered with the iCloud stuff. So it's very clever the way it goes from one machine to the other. But if I accidentally delete it on my iPhone, does it delete it on everything?
There's a separate storage, so you can delete it from the device and keep it on the cloud.
But if you did it by mistake, does it delete it everywhere? Or because I've never quite understood that.
No, like there's a separate storage settings that you can have where you can choose whether to just back it up on the cloud or just back it up on the actual device that you're using. It should clearly state that. That's why I started doing that, so I can work on multiple things wherever I am. I thought that's what you might be getting at, but
No.
Sorry.
What was the name of that?
What was the name of that mind mapping thing, by the way?
Oh, it's called Simple Mind.
Simple Mind.
Hang on, I've got a name of another one. Jay's about to. I cannot. Don't want to minimize Zoom. I just want to get to my desktop. Xmind is one that I've come across, and again, it's one of those things that you kind of if you can it's probably worth doing, but I get impatient with new technology and just sort of think, I can't be bothered with this. So this is Xmind, but I have been recommended this one. It's asking me to sign in at this point, but I won't. But yeah, so that's a good one. That someone did recommend that one to me and said it was someone who's very sort of tech savvy, and it does kind of in the way that if you ever draw a mind map picture, which I do sometimes, it sort of, if you can imagine being able to sort of get 5 times as much stuff onto the screen as you can get on when you're drawing, that's the sort of, it can really sort of dig down into it, really. But does anyone else use anything other than those pen and paper?
Well, just Google Drive on everything. Yeah, I tried to use little index cards, but loads of little index cards, and just sat there staring at them blankly. And I found it was much easier to go into a document and just start typing stuff as it, or things that I'd thought of previously and updating that, and then putting it into some kind of order from there, in terms of like kind of not a strict treatment or synopsis, but just all the ideas I was having and then going from there. But yeah, I couldn't be doing with any other tech and stuff like that. I'm very much a pen and paper girl.
I mean, I try and write sort of like every day before I do writing, and I've got a kind of I've got a book here of just like everything that I've written. So this is just sort of for the one aspect of things. This is like just like sort of blogs about writing comedy. That's this one section. I've got another book which is like a sort of where if I'm working on a radio script or a novel, I've got a separate book for that. And so I know where just I sort of make sure I've got every sort of chapter here. So I am basically Mr. Luddite, really, I think, when it comes to formatting. And that does sort of work for me, but I do know a lot of people do swear by Scrivener. They do say Scrivener is very, very good for that. Any more questions? Fire away at me.
Yes.
Jay has a question. Yeah. Okay.
With your little scene competition that you did, I went with kind of what I thought was the option that was kind of that felt ticked all the boxes and made safe, and then I kind of regretted that obviously afterwards. I wish I'd gone with the bonkers alien idea. Should you just kind of go with your gut and with the one that you feel you like best, rather than trying to tick boxes? What's your thoughts on that?
It's I always sort of think about Stephen Moffat, when we interviewed Stephen on Sitcom Geeks, and Stephen, you imagine, he's one of the most successful writers, in the last sort of 20 years, a brilliant writer, amazing work, Sherlock, Doctor Who, so many kind of brilliant shows. And he says, I love every script that I've written. And then he says, up to the moment when I press send. And he says, the moment I press send, it's like, oh my God, I put that thing in there and I shouldn't have done that. I thought, and I sort of, and he just kind of, I heard him say that at a big conference thing. And there was a sort of writers, and there was a kind of, almost a sigh of relief went round the room of, oh, right, oh God, even Stephen Moffat has that. I thought I was just me. And that's, everything is fantastic, right up to the point that you send it off. And, everybody has that. You just kind of, I've started doing this blog now as well, because I've got this novel coming out in June. And it's self-published, so I'm kind of at the same. I'm like a totally unknown writer in terms of getting a novel out. I'm just who am I? And I'm trying to learn how to do this thing, and I have that exactly that feeling of of the imposter syndrome. I've written a little blog about the character who says to you, who do you think you are writing that, but then the other character that we don't talk about so much is Mr. Awesome, who reads the draft that you've written, goes, hey, wow, that is super amazing. That is just, God, that is a really fantastic bit of writing, isn't it? Yeah, actually it is, isn't it? No, you mention it. Yeah. Yeah, I really like that phrase. I'm going to read it again because I like it so much, and ignore that little plot point that's not quite working, but that's okay, because this bit's so nice, and that's a kind of you've got all these sort of characters in your head, when you think you've written whatever you've written is perfect. Yeah, it's a hard one to, can you second guess what's what is wanted. And it's, I kind of didn't really know myself until I read until I read actually all of the scripts. I realized actually that I had just I'd asked for the world on a stick, really. I just thought, oh, I'll write a scene, and you need this at the beginning, and you need that to happen, and you need this. And I just thought, bloody hell, God, have I ever managed that in a script? And, it is a really, it's a really tough ask. And you kind of, thinking about it, you probably more or less have to know the whole script and know it really well, and have have thought it all through from every angle, and it to already be brilliant several drafts down the route to have got to where it is. So sorry about that, Jay.
That's all right. That was a really good exercise. So I did it for like 3 or 4 different things that I've been working on. So I chose that one particular one, right. And then of course thought, gosh, I should have chosen one of the others. Yeah. But no, it was good exercise.
Yeah, there's always next time if I do it next time. So Callum, is that you?
Oh, I was keeping my fingers crossed, but I will ask a question.
Right.
I wrote it down myself. So the BCG Pro recently put an article on Twitter saying that BBC Three have commissioned kind of like a horror dramatic comedy drama based on a ship, I think. And it kind of leads into my question. What do you believe the BBC Three change to TV will have? And do you think the open competitions will reflect that? As in, do you reckon they'll be looking for people like new writers to kind of fill that new, like, coming to television? And if so, have you got any like pointers?
Yeah, BBC Three. I'm just going to look now quickly because there has been a kind of thing that is I have read about the BBC Three and the sort of the money that they are earmarking for it and what they're going to do as well. So let me just quickly find that email.
Thanks.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's difficult to. It's very difficult to kind of second guess the what do commissioners want, and they are definitely looking for new writers, and so I'm just going to share this. This is this is quite a useful thing to share with you anyway, because this is about. We've just did a recording of the Sitcom Geeks. We talked about BBC Four not having stuff anymore, which is a bit of a, that's a bit of a blow, because actually most of what they've done has been very successful. But yeah, they so BBC Four was steadily growing, but they're sort of cutting it down. I think it was very cheap. So I don't know how much of an economy they're going to make. So the return of youth skewing BBC Three to linear, which has been coupled with a doubling of its budget to £80 million. So I think that's that's the key. The sort of two key things to look at in there is youth skewing and doubling of its budget to £80 million. And kind of knowing the BBC and knowing that they do actually make a huge amount for kind of next to no money, that does mean they are looking for a lot of new content, but they will be looking for what they might consider to be youth or younger base, which I don't think necessarily means they're looking for shows that are about young people necessarily, although that's been a thing in the past. I think they've been a little bit too kind of sort of specific about that. But then a show like Little Britain, which started on BBC Three, that was sort of new and young in that the people who made it were sort of new and young at the time, but it wasn't really new and young characters. So so I think the kind of I wouldn't want to sort of second guess specific subjects that they're looking for, but I suspect that they are they're looking for whatever they think will appeal to the 16 to 34 age group, and they may well think, oh well, that's all millennials with their short attention span and whatever. But again, I think it is a difficult thing to second guess, because there's CBBC about 5 or 6 years ago was desperately trying to second guess. They saw the rise of streaming and just and the YouTube videos, and then later TikTok, and they knew that kids were sharing videos a lot, and so they would say things like we're only looking for zap, pow, quick, people got short attention span, etc., etc. But actually, those same kids are also watching, 10 series of BoJack Horseman or something on Netflix. They're happy to, they'll watch hours and hours. I mean, I've sat with my, teenage kids. We've sat through sort of 7 series of Gilmore Girls, or nine series of whatever, Brooklyn Nine-Nine or Parks and Rec and stuff. So, yeah, contemporary.
Would you say it's more of like a tone thing rather than necessarily a subject thing that they're kind of looking for?
What did the BCG Pro thing say again?
It was what gave me the idea for the question. It's just that I saw that the BCG did an article saying that they've commissioned it's like a dark comedy based on a boat, and it's kind of got like a horror tone vibes.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was just wondering if they're looking for more like What We Do in the Shadows, and that sort of like off center, not kind of like Mrs. Brown's Boys type mainstream comedy. I was just wondering if that was
It's
what.
really, I mean, all I could say, I hate to second guess things, really.
Yeah.
My feeling, what I always try and think of is, something that's familiar but brings a new element, one new element.
Mm.
So, Mrs. Brown's Boys was basically, it was panto, I suppose, but I mean, it was a very traditional comedy in every way. There's nothing new about it except it broke the fourth wall, which is also, there's nothing new about that. Shows have been doing that for before Mrs. Brown's Boys. There've been plenty of shows that have broken that fourth wall. I mean, I kind of think of, Shakespeare used to break the fourth wall, with something like Richard III he's a character who, he's a bit like, Fleabag's a bit like Richard III, really. Sort of breaks out of the, now's the winter of our discontent, blah 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 blah, and then, oh, hello, here's the Queen. Hello, Queen. Oh, bloody, those dogs are fawning at my side, whatever. So, yeah, so it's kind of have what's the one new element. If you start with something familiar, I mean, just watch a lot of BBC Three and get a feel for the kind of things that they make. There are a lot of young contemporary things they make, and yes, they also do stuff like, What We Do in the Shadows, and this also sounds like something that's a bit, kind of left field, a little bit dark. And just look at what they're making. I'm just going to also quickly, while we're talking about BCG, they have a page on BCG. I don't know if they still have this, but I'm pretty sure they do. I'm just going to go to their TV page. Here we go. Right. In development. Now, this isn't always necessarily this is what's here doesn't necessarily get made. Can you still hear me, by the way? Hello?
Yeah.
You can, right. Sorry, I suddenly lost the picture there for some reason. Right, here we go. Yeah, so I'm looking at in development here. This is a page, and you see all sorts of, Alan Carr sitcom projects. Omid's got a show idea there. So there's all these kind of I mean, they don't necessarily have a place. Let's just look up, for instance, My Mum's a Twat, new TV comedy in development. So that's from 2020. Doesn't have a title of a TV of a channel, but I guess you look at something like go to in development. No, that's not what I want. I don't want podcasts. I want in development. Right. I look at something like Stranger Times. I know that's by Queve McDonnell. That's kind of slightly weird. He's like massively very successful, massive crime novels that he writes, but this one is slightly more. It's sort of off the. It's I think it's more sort of fantasy adventure. Ability is a Radio 4 show. Lee Ridley, the Lost Voice guy, the guy who won the Britain's Got Talent. That's the sort of thing I think they're looking to make. Where they're looking for more diversity as well. So these are things to bear in mind. That they're looking for projects that aren't just the usual, white male middle class. And I think that's definitely BBC Three has been kind of quite good on that point. It's in terms of having other, kind of seeing other people, hearing other voices and things. This is made by Black Dog Television, who made Zapped, sitcom pilot about a woman who becomes pen pals with a convicted killer. That's the sort of thing that maybe Zapped was on Dave, wasn't it? So, but I could imagine this might be the sort of thing that might be BBC Three.
Yeah, they just did put it on iPlayer as well.
Yeah, I saw that. So this is just always a good page to be looking at, whether you're whoever you're kind of whatever you're wanting to write. It's just worth going through this page, getting slightly depressed, thinking, why have all these people got pilots and I haven't? But actually, you'll know that, 9 times out of 10, those things won't get made. So, which I'm not saying, hooray, haha, they're not getting made, but I'm just saying be realistic, about your chances of getting something made. Sitcom about a young man growing up in the East Midlands, Newark. That to me sounds like the sort of thing that we write up BBC Three's street, I would have thought. So yeah, look, that's a very good page to be thinking about when you're looking for when you're thinking about the kind of stuff that you want to make. But again, we're talking about second guessing again here. It's just it's good to have the industry knowledge and to be to try and look at it professionally rather than with those sort of jealous green eyes, as I admit I will have myself sometimes when I see this thing. They got a series? Bloody hell. What do I have to do to get a show made, But we all do that. And that's, human nature. But get over yourself, Dave. And just look, all right, okay, so somebody liked that idea enough to put some money into making a pilot, Black Dog Productions. So they're all very successful writers. I work with them a lot. Paul Powell, Dan Gaster, and Will Ing. Black Dog, and that's interesting that that's a pilot by 2 new writers, Ed Amsden and his writing partner, whose name I've forgotten. But I know they're new writers because I saw them when they were on the first year of the National Film Television School comedy course. So they've been around not that long, really, 7 or 8 years. So yeah, so be looking at that page, in development, British Comedy Guide in development page, and that will help. But don't look at it and think, right, don't think, oh, they're looking for this thing, therefore I must try and write this thing that's like it. But also don't look at it and think, oh, that's exactly the same as an idea, or that's really similar to an idea that I've just come up with. Because a lot of the time, people aren't necessarily looking for your script, but they are looking for you as a writer. They're interested in what you can bring, and they're not necessarily looking for just your script. They're thinking, and agents, for instance, are thinking, okay, what can I hope over, say, 5 years to do with this person, and maybe not just this script that they're going to try and sell, but they've got another script that's in another genre. They've got a kids TV, they've got a kids idea. That's good, because kids TV gets made, much more than adult TV. There's a lot of stuff. Well, not much more, but CBBC makes a lot of stuff. Nickelodeon make a lot of stuff. So think about playing. Being in the game. Having stuff. Radio. Listen to radio and write radio scripts as well. because also that's you meet the people you're most likely to meet. People you're least likely to meet, I would say, I'm afraid, at this point, are heads of development of big indie companies, producers of sort of BBC TV or ITV, Channel 4, people you are more likely to meet, radio producers, kids TV producers, so because they new young people come through every year and they're looking for new writers, so they're looking for you basically. So say to them, look, I'm over here. Here's, I've not just got this script, I've got this script. Here's my radio script. You know, it's worth having it in your
Thanks.
bottom drawer. Okay, any more? Any more for any more? Garth has a question. Hi, Garth.
I don't. Can I ask, with the BBC, you know how they used to do the comedy sitcom contest each year, and now it's more like a comedy drama thing.
The writer's room, yeah?
Yeah. Do you know what they're doing regarding sitcom? Is there going to be a sitcom contest for comedy this year, Dave? Do you know?
This is the situation. The BBC Writers' Room stopped doing sitcom. It's normally about now, isn't it? The comedy window. They stopped doing that. And what's happened is there was an announcement today, I think, about the Writers' Room's moving to Salford, where a lot of the BBC is based. That it's all changed really, and it's been all changed for about a year and a half, and they've been promising, BBC Comedy have basically been saying we're taking over, so it's not like it's scrapped, but it's just they're changing it. But it seems to be that they every time there's kind of, they haven't decided what they're doing yet, and I know that that's the case because they announced it in something like 2019 with a big fanfare. We're going to do British comedy. We're completely revamping how we get new stuff. Now we do know that they are doing. They are carrying on doing the 3 bursaries. That's the Caroline Aherne women's writing, Felix Dexter minorities, and the Galton and Simpson, which was launched last year, loosely connected to the virus and mental health and other things, but it wasn't sort of made clear. I suspect they'll turn that into a kind of sitcom competition. I may be wrong because they haven't announced that yet this year. The fact that they're saying now that BBC, what we've talked about with regard to BBC Three, is that maybe they're kind of farming that bit out to BBC Three, but I don't know is the actual answer to that, but I think they don't know either. If you go to I'll go to the latest now, see what they have to say. I think they call it the British Comedy Association or something. Let me just, and they did make a sort of big announcement earlier this year, or December 2020 they did. So, but again, this thing that they launched, if I remember correctly, wasn't particularly definitive. So let's just have a very quick look at this. So yes, this was published December 2020, so not that long ago. What's the you have to the game you play is, when do they first mention Fleabag, and it's there in the first sentence. Phoebe Waller-Bridge, Daisy May, Charlie Cooper. So it's all very kind of, there's nothing definite here. So we will identify and address opportunities, challenges, and partnerships across the BBC. What does that mean? And this is on a postcard. This is a proactive move to becoming a broadcast catalyst for creating ever more access and engagement. Yes, more PR by computer here. Right, the new comedy awards. I think that's a live thing, isn't it? That's stand-up. So, and it's also about diversity, but there is nothing here. Yeah, inclusion. So it's about, I think that's about performers. Young People's Comedy Laureate, not sure what that is. City of Comedy. So if you're lucky enough to be in the City of Comedy of that year, or whichever is the sort of cultural city, I think. So this is probably the area that we're looking at. So the bursaries that we have, yeah, they talk about, yeah, this is the two new bursary schemes here. First Time Fund, non-transmittable shorts from emerging directors or producers. So that might be, so the First Time Fund, I haven't seen anything asking for scripts for that. And they've got one there, they worked with Tiger Aspect, so that's probably their thing. And then we've got these two schemes will run in tandem with Caroline Aherne, Felix Dexter and Galton and Simpson bursaries. Okay. So that's not been, they haven't, yeah, it's done in collaboration with Mental Health Foundation. But that's as much as they've said in terms of the writing that they want. As you see, there is that BBC Three gets its own section. So I'll just have a read of this and see if it's any use to you. Let me just come back to, as you see, there's no specific mention of sitcom, which is a little bit annoying. But I think they are planning to do something like that. But they just haven't got round to it yet. I know this because we had, and this is back in September, I was talking to somebody in Shane Allen's office, Shane Allen being the head of BBC Comedy, and she came to do a talk for a thing I was doing with the Writers Guild, and this was in September last year. And I said, oh, you know, is this, will this be in time for you to make an announcement about what writing you're looking for? She said, oh yes, almost certainly. And then about a week before, she said, just hold off a second, please, you know. And that was in September. So, you know, 6 months later, they still haven't got an absolute definitive decision. But that's quite a lot to be going on, I think. So sorry again, Garth, not to be more able to say, oh, they're definitely doing this. They do. These things are kind of sort of come out of nowhere quite a lot. I mean, nobody knew that the comedy drama thing was going to happen, and certainly the comedy people at BBC Writers' Room didn't know. And so, you know, we tried to contact them about, you know, when we first saw this had come out, and they didn't get back to us. And then after about a week or so, they said, "Oh, sorry, we not got back to you. There's changes happening, and we're not doing comedy anymore." So yeah, the people talk about the BBC as this sort of like a single giant behemoth, but it's just so many different departments, and nobody knows what the other department's doing, and it's just, you know, it gets very frustrating. Any more thoughts about that? No. Okay, any more questions? Jonathan.
You're writing a novel as well, aren't you? Is that right?
I have written a novel. Oh yes.
Okay, so this question might be more to do with novels, but okay. How on earth do you know when it's finished? Because every line can be rewritten. And did you get someone to read it, or how did that work?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And the kind of, you know, it's same with the script really. How do you know when a script is finished? And you know, I'll even go and think about it in terms of a joke. You know, 10 words or whatever, 12 words. You know, I used to do gags in my stand-up set, and I'd done them 4 or 5 times, and then suddenly I'd think of an extra thing in there, and it changed it completely, and it made it a whole new joke. But it was kind of the same joke, yeah. So there are certain similarities, I would say, in that you never absolutely quite know. I kind of. I mean, because it's a thing that I'd been wanting to write for sort of 30 or 40 years and just never got round to. So again, it was so lodged in my head, and that's probably why, as I say, I didn't use a thing like Scrivener or mind maps for it. But I definitely knew that it started in 1976 and that it ended in 1985. And then I had written 15,000 words, and I thought, actually, it's going to end in 1979 now. So, you know, that's kind of quite a big change that happened. But here's a thing. Watch go to iPlayer and watch the first 10 minutes of the first episode of Life on Mars, and then go to Writer's Room and read the shooting script for the first 10 minutes of Life on Mars. And you'll notice there's a really massive plot idea that's in the shooting script for Life on Mars that isn't in the finished episode. So even that show, which was, you know, fantastic show, one of my favorites the last few years, and they took out a massive plot thing that's right in the beginning of page 1, which, so obviously it was one of the most important things, and they just thought, no, we cut all those bits, we're just going to stick to he goes he gets run over, he finds himself in 1973. That's enough. We don't need this other massive plot thing, which was that I don't know if you know Life on Mars, but it's not a spoiler because they didn't do it. But actually, in the script, the PC who's his partner, who's his deputy as well at the police station, they had literally she had finished with him that morning, the morning of the big event that leads to him getting run over, so there was this whole subplot of that they had split up, and they just took that out, and that's just, you know, wow, that's a massive thing. So, you know, that doesn't really answer. Well, I suppose it does. It just, you never really know. But I kind of by the second draft, I would say that I knew I'd kind of found the way to end it, and I'd sort of found the place where it all falls apart, sort of 3/4 of the way through, and everything else around that is, you know, that's the kind of huge grey area of whether it's any good or not, you know. But yeah, I'm still rewriting it. I'm just doing the final draft to send off to a kind of a proper copy editor who'll, you know, correct all the grammar and stuff like that. But I'm adding little jokes and I'm taking little things away, and this is, like I say, probably about the 7th or 8th draft now. I've lost count. And now Matt has a question about it as well. Differences with writing a novel compared with writing a script. Did you plan structure differently? I did, because as I say, that it was just a new thing for me, and I didn't really know what I was doing. But actually, I've got another idea for a novel which I've started writing, and I've kind of used the same before writing it, and I haven't written anything yet. And this is what I use for everything, and it's what I sort of teach as well. You know, what's the idea? What's it about? What's it really about? Who is it about? Why am I the person to write this, and why now? And that question, why now, that comes right back to the thing that we were talking about earlier about, it's a familiar idea, but the reason I'm writing this now is because A, B, C, D, whatever. So in that sense, the process, I think, of getting to the point before you actually physically write a word of your script or your novel, I think the process is pretty much, has been for me, the same. But I haven't put the novel out yet, so I need some people to read it and say, oh, that's fantastic, Dave, or oh, that's a load of shit, and I'll know the answer to that question when it's out there, but probably not before. I've got time for one last quick question, if anyone any more for any more.
Have you managed to keep your enthusiasm going through all these lockdowns?
Do you know, I have. I was just sort of thinking about that, and actually doing stuff like this really just kind of, I just, I've been really sort of enjoying this kind of thing, and actually weirdly as well, well, not too weirdly, I mean, I feel really bad. I have a lot of friends who are stand-ups who've just basically they lost their careers pretty much, but actually a lot of people thought, oh, I'd really like to do some writing, and actually I've been doing new things that I'd never done before, like the build a sitcom course, which only started doing last May, was the first time I did it. Susan did that course, and Carol, and that was a really fun thing. I really enjoy doing it. I've done 4 of them now, and it's amazing. People just don't have, people start with an idea and then they get to writing a first draft in 8 weeks, and that's just been really kind of exciting for me to watch, to work with like 16 people, and every week I get 16 batches of their new character ideas and their new stories and things. I mean, what would you say, having done the course?
It was really helpful for us because we are new writers, so we're just soaking up everything that we can from people who've got experience, and it made us think in different ways and think more clearly about what we were trying to achieve with the script.
It gave us a foundation from which to start on, all the steps, and doing it like we did. I found it really helpful.
Yeah, that's what I try and break it down. I mean, you're kind of trying to do like 10 things at once when you're writing a new script. So I've sort of tried to break it down so that you spend the first 2 weeks just looking at the idea and just testing it, and then you look at the characters, and then you just look at the plots, and then you just look at episodes that you create. But of course, all the time, everything's feeding into everything else. But I try to at least separate things out for a week at a time, so that at least by the time you get to weeks 5 and 6, you've got all the things that you need to have thought about before you start writing the script.
Yeah.
But
we've got a little bit of good news on it.
Right.
I know we wrote it for TV, but we managed to find a clip that we could just readjust for radio, a little 3-minute clip, and we sent it off to BBC Radio Essex, and they asked us to record it, so they're going to play it next Tuesday and talk to us about it. So it's like, yeah, they really loved it. We were like, oh,
fantastic.
wow.
Yeah. It's a nice, and it's great. And that's another thing, that's just to point to point out, it's a great idea, but you have to really test your idea. You really have to push your ideas, so it's great from that point of view as well. So I'm delighted to hear that. So that's good. Yeah. How about you, Jonathan? How have you found the this year?
Yeah, I suppose I asked that question because I find at the beginning, I was full of enthusiasm, all this time to write, and it sort of has dropped away. But yeah, maybe I need to run some comedy courses.
There are, I mean, in certain ways, I've definitely felt, I mean, there were times in the last 2 or 3 months of, kind of deep existential angst that's not related to anything particular other than, oh, for God's sake, okay, we get the point, all right. Can we go out now, please? Can I go to the shops again, please? Can I talk to someone less than 2 meters away because I'm deaf as a post? But yeah, I mean, I don't know. But very quickly, anyone else want to share their lockdown experiences? Good thing, bad thing, happy, sad, terrible?
I think there was a general thing like the January blues, like you say. It's like, I just don't know if I can do this anymore. We want some kind of normality back. And everybody I speak to, not people just that do what we do, but everybody in the town where we live, that they just say, oh no, I can't do this anymore. I want my life back.
Yeah. Callum, your face told many stories when I could see, and that as I was asking that question, it's like, oh my God, where do I begin with that?
Just thinking where to start, Dave. Yeah, I've just been working at a student accommodation, so it's been a bit crazy. I'm kind of thinking of maybe basing a sitcom around it, and it's like, there's still parties and everything going on, and there's a lot of issues working there, but you're classed as essential workers, so it's a bit like it is a bit awkward.
Yeah. I mean, one of the things I got this new job in January as well, which I wasn't expecting. So as well as doing the Build a Sitcom, I was working with students for more or less 2 days a week. And I was supposed to be going in, and then, I ended up doing the whole 3 months online. And I did get a sense that, for being a student was actually quite a stressful thing. And a lot of them were just in their halls of residence at this university and just unable to do stuff. But like you say, there was the odd party and the odd rule breaking weekend and stuff.
Yeah, it was like every couple of weeks they just it was like a ball of energy, and then it was like, okay, no, we've got to behave now.
Yeah.
And then it's like, it's like a cycle, I guess.
Yeah. Anyone else?
I've really enjoyed it, Dave. I've watched 200 episodes of Modern Family.
Oh, fantastic. Well, we got through the whole of Parks and Rec in the first lockdown, which I'd seen odd episodes of, but started at episode 1 and all the way through to 150 odd episodes. That was really that was nice. And yeah, I know it's good.
Count your blessings.
Yeah, true. I do. I am grateful for many things, really, and I guess we all have to be aware of that as well. So, well, thanks. I hope you've all enjoyed that. And
very much. Thank you.
If you don't mind, I'll probably put this up as a sort of YouTube thing, because a few people said they wanted to see it. They couldn't come and they wanted to see it. So, if you don't mind, I will do that. But yeah, thanks for coming, and thanks for all your questions, and good luck with all your projects, and good luck with Radio Essex as well. Fantastic.
Thank you.
Okay.
Well done.
Thank you, Dave.
Good luck with your book.
Bye-bye. Have a
Thank
lovely
you.
evening,
Bye.
everybody.
Bye.
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 Right.